This is the weekend edition of Fear and Greed Daily Business News for people who make their own decisions. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, our weekend show is a competition. I'm just putting it out there right up front because that's what this is about. It is not about the news. It is not about business. It's not about, look, I hate to say it, it's not even about listeners. This is about you and me, Sean, and victory. And because we are each nominating a big story of the week, the most remarkable story, a sleeper business story that's flying under the radar a little bit, and our favourite story. And because this is a competition and because that is all that matters in the end, is a winner, we need a judge. And our judge is our Fear and Greed colleague, Adam Lang. Adam, do you agree with everything I've said so far?
Almost none of it.
I like it. Is this one of those ones where winner takes all? So the last winner of the weekend edition for the year wins the year?
High stakes.
Yeah.
Righto?
Yeah. Considering we haven't kept a tally, but I reckon I have lost probably about 80% of them.
No, I think we're 25-25 at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe in a few weeks off.
I will take that because I know how many I have lost, and it is a vast, vast number. All right, quickly, Adam.
Yes.
What are the criteria you are searching for in these stories today?
Okay, for each of the four stories, I want to hear topicality and timeliness, a bit of economic impact. I would like it if it played up to my...
All year, that has been your number one priority?
Yeah,
criteria.
It's like a bell curve. I put the most important one in the middle, economic impact. And then the next two, pure subjective bias, a bit of mine, and I like melodrama. So bring some of that.
I will do my best.
Let's just jump into it. Michael, what's the biggest story of the week? Limbering up.
Yeah. Look, the biggest story, I think we can agree, right, that the biggest event annually, right, so disregard this week for a second, but the biggest event during the year, in any given year, in terms of the economy and in terms of politics, is the federal budget, right? Agreed? Yes, we all agree on that. No one needs to say anything. We all agree. So it stands to reason then that if the federal budget is the biggest story of the year, then the mid-year economic and fiscal outlook, MyEFO, which is essentially the budget update halfway through, is therefore the second biggest event in terms of the economy and politics in the year. I've put a lot of thought into the logic behind this. And
this is dull so far. Go on.
But it's a non-debate because this week I have the biggest story of the week because MyEFO revealed, wait for it, that the underlying deficit this financial year is due to come in at $27 billion, which is slightly better than the May forecast of $28 billion. And like, it's that little kind of qualifying thing really that you would just be going, oh, it's only $1 billion difference. But it is then going to worsen for the next 3 years. Over the next 4 years, the deficit is forecast to be $144 billion. We, gentlemen, are looking at a decade of deficit. Oh, government spending. What?
Even you are struggling with this, Michael.
No,
it's like Adam, is being interesting a factor or not?
I didn't explicitly state it, yeah, but it is important.
Is it?
Yeah.
It feels like you're, oh, look at that. Those goalposts just shifted. Everyone?
Absolutely.
The decade of deficit. Oof.
Is that it?
No. There's so much more. Okay. Government spending, right, as a percent of GDP is forecast to nearly double next financial year. Nearly double. That is extraordinary, right? Before falling back to more normal levels. Now, you can prepare to hear a heck of a lot about this one. Adam, write this down, about that government spending during the election that is coming up at some point in the next, 6 months or so. That is a gigantic target painted on the back of the government by the opposition. They will have a field day with that. But MyEFO, that isn't just about the budget. Oh, no. There is so much more in it than just those numbers, right?
Adam, what'd you get Lara for Christmas?
I'm going to offer her Michael's story so far.
No. You love her. You're married.
Oh, sorry.
May I finish?
Please.
I'm nearly done, but I'm just trying to make it clear that my EFO is big. It is not just about the budget. It's not just about the deficit. It's not just about the money. What it's also about is data, Adam. Data. And what
I think I'm going to get Jackie some earrings.
Yeah.
What we have learnt this week is that net migration is forecast to be 340,000 this financial year. That is significant because it is 80,000 more than forecast. I'm glad to see you writing that down, Adam, unless you're just pretending.
Yeah, he's just written down earrings.
Yeah.
He's just stolen my idea.
shopping list.
I already got a really nice pajamas and some other.
It
really?
puts
Yeah, that might do that too.
pressure on the housing market. All right, housing market under pressure. The government has downgraded its growth forecast for the economy this financial year to 1.75% and then 2.25% in 2025, 2026. It is forecasting, it's just a wealth of data. It is forecasting ongoing easing of inflation and wage increases, a steady pickup in the unemployment rate to 4.5% by the middle of next year. Honestly, my EFO is such a major event that I'm honestly surprised that it is not printed by default on all old school calendars like Christmas Day and Good Friday and Easter Sunday and all of those. It should be considered a fixture on the calendar for everyone and taught in schools. That is how big it is because it has given us an insight about the economy.
We have to jump in, Adam. We are losing listeners.
It's a merciful thing,
second.
isn't it?
Yeah. Give him the win. I'm happy. Just get him to stop. That's all I ask.
Tell us your topic, Sean.
Yeah, right up. You finished, Michael? Thanks. Good.
I wasn't. I only had another 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, good. What the big story this week was, and mine's interesting as well. Crazy stuff.
Okay.
So far, it is not.
What
Sean.
happened at the US Fed? They cut interest rates by 25 basis points. Everyone expected that, but they said we're not going to cut interest rates 4 times next year. We're only going to cut them twice. Wall Street fell out of bed. S&P 500 down 3%. Our market tumbled. All the banks down more than 2%. Group like the interest rate sensitive stocks like the property companies like Goodman, they got hit hard. All the US. There's a bunch of companies in Australia that make their money out of the US. So James Hardie is a really good example. Building Products Group, lots of money out of the US. We've had such a good run this year in the market. Yet right at the end, the Fed changed its mind on what's happening on interest rates. Now, the reason for that is that maybe inflation hasn't quite been slayed. Maybe Michelle Bullock at the Reserve Bank knows what she's talking about by not cutting interest rates. We've also, of course, got Donald Trump there talking about tariffs, pushing up prices. The fact that so many people lost tens of billions of dollars. Michael, you lost nothing. Adam and I, we lost huge amounts of money.
It hurts.
On the back of the market being dumped just before Christmas. Santa Claus rally, more like a Scrooge rally. That's what I'd call it. Big story this week because it affects all investors. And I was brief. Adam.
Kicking the shins for investors just to finish the year.
Ouch.
Sean wins. I was frustrated listening to my EFO, right? Because
it wouldn't stop.
No, it's good summary and good data. But here we are with an economy that's really sullen, confidence down, business confidence, consumer confidence down, low unemployment. And our tax receipts should actually be funding a surplus, at least reform. But there's none of it. And my EFO gave us nothing in that regard. And consequently, the markets didn't really react. Whereas out of the Fed, that's a big change in rhetoric and disposition on where their interest rates are going. And we saw the market. It was a pronounced impact around the world. It was immediately reacted to. So, it actually caused people to change course this week.
You know what? Next year, Sean, can you go back to doing the economy and to doing kind of this kind of thing? Because I have been hammered every single week because I have had to – I'm off to the chiropractor straight after this episode because I've been carrying this team for the last 6 months because I've been doing all the economics. And honestly, My back
Oh, wow.
cannot take this any longer.
Yeah, I hadn't appreciated just how much of a burden we were
rough.
to you, Michael.
Well,
But thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for acknowledging it.
Can I tell you about my most remarkable story?
Please do.
Mesoblast, blasting off 54% in one session. This stock is up 900% this year. The next best on the ASX 200, I think it's Zipco. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. That's about 300% or something like that. So this is 3 times better than number 2. The reason, and most recent reason for the big jump this week, the US Federal Drug Administration gave the green light to Mesoblast cell therapy treatment, Riconsul it's called. It'll be used to treat children for a life-threatening complication that can occur during bone marrow transplants. Now, there just hasn't been a treatment for this complication. This treatment will save lives. Full stop. There's about 1,500 children that receive bone marrow transplants each year in the US. Most of those are at high risk to this complication. That sent its share price up 54%. Mesoblast, the other big jump in the stock this year, came back in January when the FDA recognised its cell therapy, Revascor, I can never say that word, basically treats heart disease in newborn babies. What a remarkable story. It is now up it's now worth $3.2 billion. This is just one of those many biotech stocks that try very hard to make the world a better place, and this one does it. Remarkable story, 54% on one day, 900% for the year, actually contributing to society, Michael, contributing to society. That, to me, is a fantastic company and a remarkable story. And brief. If you guys want to get a cup of tea, off you go. Michael will be finished in about 6 minutes.
No, I'll be done in about 1.5. But also, but a quick couple of points of order. Did you, when you said that actually contributing to society, Michael, were you implying that I personally don't contribute to society or my stories don't?
Well, your back was broken from just helping Fear and Greed, so you've only got so much left for helping the rest of society.
Yeah. We're kind of dragging you along. It's true. We shouldn't expect too much from you.
You know what,
That's
Sean?
close to a dummy spit.
No.
It's
different. Sean is the master of the dummy spit. I am the master of the exasperated sigh, and that is just what I did just then. Because I've just, like, it's like working with children.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Except children who know about business news. It's weird. All right.
Yeah,
my kind of kid.
Could you imagine what it'd be like around the kitchen table at Adam's house when they start talking spreadsheets?
I wish like you were Merry Spreadsheet.
The boys would either go, "Oh yeah, Dad," or "Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Get us out of here!" Everyone texting under the table. Make him stop.
That's right. To Lara, your wife. The kids are texting to Lara, your wife, under the table.
Adam, do you suspect that your wife and kids have a WhatsApp group without you in it? Kind of.
Look, I would, but I don't think they need it. It's just almost non-verbal glances. I reckon they can do it in a little twitch of an eye.
Anyway, from
most remarkable story, Michael.
Most remarkable story. Look, my stories do have a bit of an economic kind of theme to them.
God.
Thank God the year's nearly over, right? Combined with politics. Yes? Today?
That'll make it better. Go on.
Well, it worked last time, didn't it? Let's try it again. I genuinely believe that the changes happening right now, right at this very minute, at the Reserve Bank. I can't even say it with a straight face now. I do believe that the changes happening at the Reserve Bank of Australia are remarkable. Right. But let me explain to you why, okay? Because on the surface of it, you'll be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. And I note, Adam, that you have not picked up your pen to write anything down yet that I have said.
It's ready.
This week, 2 key appointments, right? And so we've been talking all year about these big changes, the overhaul of the Reserve Bank. So this is significant for the economic impact on Australia, all of that. Just take that as read, okay? We understand all of that. But this week, 2 key appointments. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers appointed an academic and a former bank boss to the new Reserve Bank interest rate setting committee. There are a few things remarkable about this. Number one, okay, is that these two people have extraordinary credentials. Extraordinary. Quite remarkable how well-credentialed they are. ANU Professor Renee Fry-McKibben, for example, has worked at the European Central Bank, International Monetary Fund, Bank of England, Reserve Bank of New Zealand, and the Atlanta Fed, one of the authors of last year's independent RBA review. Look, if you were going to just try and pick someone who knows this stuff to put on this committee, you would land on Renee Fry-McKibben, right? Okay, good. Marnie Baker, the other person appointed, worked for 35 years at Bendigo and Adelaide Bank, including 6 years as CEO, giving her what I would describe as a unique and remarkable insight into regional Australia, into the impact of interest rate moves on mortgage holders, on real-life bank customers around the country. I think it is remarkable as well because it brings some incredible experience, makes it more likely that the committee will have the knowledge, and this was a point made by economists through the week, will have the knowledge to challenge the information put forward within the bank by boffins, and I use that term affectionately. It is remarkable as a whole because it's going to encourage more accountability on rate decisions. And finally, and this part, Adam, this part is actually quite significant. And I thought this was a remarkable point made during the week. It is remarkable as well that Jim Chalmers could have named up to 6 new appointees to the committee, and he could have gone political because that was a lot of what the opposition was saying in the lead up to this, that hey, this just opens it up for the government to politicise the Reserve Bank and the interest rate setting committee, and he didn't. And I actually think that is admirable. It's been welcomed by other economists and sets the scene now.
Are you going to get sports stuff for your kids?
And sets the scene now. I'm done. I've got 8 more words. Sets the scene now for a new world order at the Reserve Bank of Australia. Done?
Excellent. Adam, over to you.
Like, that is genuinely remarkable stuff.
Please judge, Adam.
So, Michael, look, it's worthy and important, interesting.
Remarkable,
but we did know this
well.
was coming and not remarkable.
But we didn't know who it was. That we did not, Adam. We did not
so they
know
picked someone who knows what they're doing.
We did, but honestly, a lot of the speculation was that it was going to be a political. That there could be political appointments here.
I think that.
And the fact that it wasn't is actually quite remarkable. And the fact that the two people there have real insights into
Michael,
this.
Decision's been made.
Yeah, I know. You can't change his mind.
900% up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is highly speculative stuff, but when it comes to health outcomes and all the money they spend on research and getting something that wins and in this case saves lives, 900% growth in the share price. Well played, Mesoblast. Remarkable.
Excellent. It is time for a break. Let's hope that Michael...
And a comeback from Thompson.
Well, I hope he comes back, definitely, because it'd be nice to finish 2-2. No doubt about it. It's 2-0 at the moment, 2-0 to 0. And let's hope that we have a little more brevity after the break. We'll be back.
All right, Sean, we're looking for a sleeper story of the week. Sleeper story being one flying under the radar a little bit, or is going to become a bigger story further down the track. In that case, the fuse on that story has been lit in the last week.
I think you should go first.
I will. Now, keep in mind, Adam, that this is a business podcast, that we've got to talk about actual business stuff, not just kind of frivolity and just light-hearted japes.
Can you make it short?
Honestly, probably not. I could tell you that brevity is key today.
Why'd I even ask? Because off we go. Like, here's an extra minute.
You've just unnecessary. Longer, Sean.
Yeah, I apologise.
Yeah. A bit of a sleeper story. Not much fuss has been made about it overall this year, but luckily I am here. Got my little torch. I'm shining a light onto this story to illuminate it for the world. Obviously, the ASX has kept growing in overall value across the year, so it distracts from what is going on behind the scenes. But I have had a peek behind the scenes at the ASX, and I have uncovered the fact that the number of companies on the bourse is shrinking because nobody knows about this.
Can look, good story. It was you that did it. That's all. We're just going to make sure it was you that did it.
What, that had a little
Peek behind? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
That's what I said.
Yep. Good.
The ASX is on track to end the year with fewer listed companies than it started with, as more companies opt to go private. The total number of listings has fallen from 2,191 at the start of the year to 2,121 by the end of November. Bit of quick maths. That's around 70.
Around.
Yeah. give or take a few. We had 30 new listings, 64 delistings. That does add up. No, it doesn't. Does it?
I want to see you get out of this.
I can't read my own handwriting. Anyway, but you know what? Look, as we always say on Fear and Greed, the numbers don't matter. In the end, it's not about the numbers. It is about the trend. The trend is your friend here, Sean. And we are now in a
this is sleeper.
A multi-year contraction, yes, that no one's talking about. I'm here to do this. The appeal of private markets is growing. That is not good news for investors looking to put their money into Australian companies on the Australian share market. And some of these companies, they aren't minnows either. So I don't know how they managed to fly under the radar. Now that I mention this as a sleeper story, these are big companies, old companies in many cases, like kind of building materials group, CSR and Adbri, or fruit and veggie company, Costa Group, Illumina as well, which does a lot of work with bauxite, which is quite an interesting mineral, Sean? The $3.4 billion deal, that was a big one. Probably not a sleeper. This overall, though, is a sleeper story. And it's one that'll come back. See, it's not a sleeper as in flying under the radar, right? It is a sleeper story under definition 2B of the sleeper story category. And that is that it is going to be a bigger story further down the track. The fuse has been lit by me. I don't want to exaggerate. It will be back as a bigger story when the market is reduced from a magnificent smorgasbord of companies to a mere rump, with just perhaps a bank or two, maybe a mining company, and that's
maybe.
it. You'll
just have healthcare.
Yep, maybe a healthcare
blast.
company.
Yep.
You'll have maybe 4 or 5 companies to choose from, and the rest have gone private. That's it. I'm looking into the crystal ball. 2025 looks pretty grim. There you go. Sleeper story.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Good.
that was it.
Thanks.
It was brief.
Excellent. Look, it is the weekend before Christmas. By far the biggest sleeper story of this week is that Christmas lunch now is all about sashimi. You can have your prawns, you can have your oysters. In fact, you will have prawns and you will have oysters. But sashimi is back. The retailers are telling us kingfish, tuna, Atlantic salmon. Do they flow out the door, swim out the door?
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah. People are buying them anyway, and they're swimming in their hands as they're taking them out the door. Huge sales of some of these products. Kingfish, beautiful. Tuna, love seared tuna. Salmon, well, to me, salmon's like the chicken of the meat world. It's kind of...
I thought chicken was the chicken of the meat world.
Yeah, no, but
chicken of the sea.
You guys, I'm a pescatarian, and Adam's got all sorts of weird dietary stuff going on. So we don't eat meat. So when you eat fish mostly, and you don't know what to have, you have salmon.
Salmon.
And it's like when you eat meat, well, you don't know what to have, you have chicken.
Mm.
It's the same. Anyway, sashimi. It's all about sashimi along with prawns and seafood and stuff like that. What I love, there was a report in the Fin Review. The Sydney Fish Market, which is the biggest fish market in the country, it expects to sell more than 350 tonnes of seafood. That is 3.5 blue whales walking, swimming, being pushed out the Sydney Fish Market yards. That is pretty phenomenal in a 36-hour period. About 120 tonnes of prawns, 70,000 dozen oysters. But it's all about sashimi. The other one, which is really interesting, and these are media reports throughout the week have been talking about it, the plum pudding's coming back. Now, I've always been a big, big plum pudding fan. My dad used to make one 6 months before Christmas.
Hanging in the laundry.
Hanging in the laundry. You'd have to be cutting off the mould about this point because it would have got mouldy.
Don't crack your teeth on the little coins that someone's
yeah, the nasty coins. That was actually Michael's father-in-law who puts the coins in mostly. And the plum puddings are back, but they're more bespoke plum puddings now. But I do miss my dad's old plum pudding. Make it in June, July. It'd go mouldy in the laundry. You'd cut it off. You'd have brandy, butter, custard, ice cream.
Light it on fire.
Absolutely. You'd put brandy over and off she'd go. What was the category this week?
Sleeper.
So the sleeper story is sashimis.
Oh.
Sashimi. And the comeback of plum puddings. Over to you, Adam.
Look, I didn't think this was possible, but Michael wins.
Hey!
I didn't think it was possible either.
Michael's argument, I think, sifting through it, was that this trend is going to be stronger in 2025, and I do think
I think I used the term, the market shall become a rump.
So it was more of a Bradbury of a win than anything.
A win is a win. I'll take it.
This is important. We're 2-1. 2 to me, 1.
Oh, sweet mother of pearl.
So it comes down the sweet mother of pearl, the whole year.
Have you brought the strength in the final category,
weeks.
Michael?
52 weeks of favourite stories. Comes down to this. I think I should go first, though, Michael, because you've really got to bring it home.
I've got this in the bag because my story is actually about business. It is about the world. It is about everything that this podcast stands for. Oh, you go first, though, Sean. Get yours out of the way.
My story, favourite story, is about the absolute sexiest commodity in the world.
Okay.
Everyone that's listening knows that's bauxite. Yep, bauxite. $112 a ton this week. Record levels. You know when you're walking in the bush and you kind of kick a stone and the top of the stone comes off and is an orangey colour?
Yeah.
That's bauxite.
Yeah.
And lots of it in Queensland, lots of it in WA. It's the primary source material for aluminium.
Your obsession with bauxite is getting a little bit creepy.
Bauxite. What a name. Bauxite. Oh, I like that word. Bauxite. It's had a really shocking name for years, but all of a sudden it is more expensive than iron ore. And that's because aluminium is becoming more popular than steel. Not really, but relative sense. Aluminium is hot at the moment. Cars are made of aluminium, not of steel. You know, bridges and heavy stuff's made of steel. But cars, batteries, that's what it's about. So suddenly, what people like Michael don't know, guess which wonderful country is the biggest producer of bauxite? Which wonderful brown land? Australia. Yep, biggest bauxite producer. Guinea and Australia were two big guys. Prices doubled in recent months. Rio Tinto's a huge bauxite producer. This, to me, is a revolution. You've got the green revolution, you've got the AI revolution, now you've got the bauxite revolution. Forget the rest of the commodities. You watch Rio, BHP, Tinto go heavy into bauxite. Never happened. I agree. Heavy into copper, maybe. My favourite story of the week, though, is bauxite because it is a sexy commodity.
Look, you know what this is. You know what this is. That feels it feels like one of those stories that gets rolled out in the week before Christmas.
Michael, this week, $12 a ton. First time ever more expensive than iron ore. Yeah, take that. Get on with your story. Stop critiquing mine. We are way over time.
We are a little bit over time. I'll keep mine brief.
Please.
My favourite story this week is about the way old-fashioned companies, legacy companies, are finding new ways to survive and compete in a vastly, vastly different world. Nissan and Honda are in exploratory talks about a merger that would create a $52 billion Japanese giant, a Godzilla of car making, if you will. The fact is, they need to do something, right? Tesla is dominating the automotive industry in terms of value. Remember last week we were talking about it being worth $1.3 trillion US. Chinese brand BYD is booming too. And you compare that to some of the other legacy companies like Toyota, 280 billion, GM, 57 billion, Ford, 41 billion. Many of them were slow to move into the EV space. Some of them are in trouble. Volkswagen, one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, is dealing with strikes as it looks to close factories because of the rising competition, particularly from those Chinese manufacturers as well, and along with Tesla. Shares in Nissan this year have fallen 40%. Honda's still going okay, but these two rivals are actively talking about a merger. Those talks deepened this week. It would be tough in Japan. It would mean job losses, but it may just be might be necessary to see Nissan survive. And in a strange way, right, it is my favorite story this week, Adam, because it is about competition. It is about industries changing, industries evolving, and about legacy companies finding ways to reinvent themselves and stay relevant, including doing the unthinkable, which is merging with their mortal enemies in order to survive. That is why this is my favorite story of the year.
It's not bauxite.
Nothing's bauxite.
Okay, so this
right.
is probably subjective bias in that Nissan and Honda might merge. Hasn't happened yet. Nor have they formed a plan other than growing in scale, doubling up. What are they going to do to change? Because it's...
He's gone. He's left the studio.
He's put the headphones down. He's left. So, yeah, I just didn't... Oh, he's back. I didn't find, Michael, that the thing has actually happened. It's a possibility, nor why they're doing it that will help them survive beyond just getting bigger. And we know that's the case in disruption. You can't just merge your way out of this thing. You actually have to change. So, but I love those two companies, Nissan and Honda, right? I'd love to see them find a way. Bauxite, obviously, we are so lucky in this country. The mineral wealth we have and the royalties, taxes we get from that benefit are immense. It's economy-changing stuff. So what's changed about bauxite? Well, it's become sexier, according to Sean, as the key component in aluminium, or as the Americans would call it, aluminum. Can we just have one international definition of
Language?
the word? Yeah, just one.
What international language do you say, Sean?
Yeah. So I actually couldn't split it. I've given you a draw.
No.
That is a win.
No.
That is a win. That is a win. 2.5 to 1.5. Thank you very much. Let's wrap up the weekend edition for the year.
Do you realise, Adam, what you have done?
Do you, Adam? Do you? Honest, I'm with Michael in this part.
I don't know that I can fully appreciate it.
Okay, let me tell you. You have ruined Australia's Christmas. The man of the people, that's me.
Thank you.
People will not stand for this. Anyway, look, good competition. What was the score? Can you tell us the point score?
Dead heat, 89 points each.
Jeez, the sashimi one got done over, didn't it? Big time.
So to speak.
2.5 to 1.5. Thank you very much. Michael, you do the sign-off. You've been doing it all year. We are way over time.
This is staggering. All right.
I'd like to put a special mention in. Luke, our producer, puts up with Michael's garbage in this show. And I have a special thank you and happy Christmas to Luke and family. Very, very good man, Luke. And he'll look at the length of this show and go, oh, my God, really? But you've got to keep this bit in, Luke. You've got to keep this bit in.
He might not even get to it. He might only get to the 30-minute mark and go, you know what? I reckon that's enough.
Chop it.
No one else will be listening.
Snip it off there. Anyway, thank you, Luke, for all that you do on this show to tidy Sean and Adam up and make them sound presentable. Congratulations, Sean, on your victory.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
And thank you, Adam, for your judging.
It was my pleasure.
Make sure you're following the podcast and please join us online on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and X. I'm Michael Thompson and that was Fear and Greed. Have a great weekend.